So a few things have changed since I seen you last. The little beast is registered. My name's Blinky, and welcome to my garage. Now, it doesn't mean that it's finished 100%, but it's got plates. So she is roadworthy and registered, and I can drive it. Now, when I left you last, you noticed that I was taking the seats apart to get retrimmed. My brother's caught up at the moment with moving to a new place, and we don't have the time to actually get the seats trimmed at the moment. So I put the trims back on the seats, and I decided for registration purposes to get some seat covers and strap them down nicely. So I literally just went to Super Cheap Auto and bought a set of $40 seat covers, took the seats out of the car, fitted them up really well, and they've come up pretty good, you know, to get it past roadworthy stage. That's really decent. Everything else in the car flew through roadie, no problem at all. Brakes seem fine, all the suspension. I actually did change the suspension in the car, so that's the old struts. I put some new ones in it. So new shockies are in there, which is really, really good. Obviously new tyres, wheels, all this kind of stuff. The window trim is in. I still have to put the front one in, so I'm going to get that done probably today or tomorrow, but that's like a 5-minute job. But basically where we're at now is it's registered and it drives really nice, but there is a couple of issues with the engine. It's acceptable. If I just wanted to drive it the way it was, or the way it is right now, I definitely could do that. Alright, so the issues I'm having is it's losing power under throttle. I can sit at a certain speed and it drives absolutely fine. But if I put my foot down to go faster or to overtake a car, for example, the car kind of bogs down. And that's not fun. But after a second or two, the power comes up and away I go. But initially, it just kind of stalls out or dies quite badly. So we'll start with a few things. The ignition timing is set to 10 degrees before top dead center. I checked top dead center by having piston 1 at top dead center. Made sure the rotor inside the distributor is facing plug 1, which it is. I have put a new distributor cap, a new coil, a new resistor, to make sure that the spark side of things is taken care of. The fuel pump has got plenty of fuel coming out of this hose, heaps of flow. So I'm going to pull the carburetor off. I'm going to open it up, have a look inside, make sure none of the little ports or valves or anything's clogged up, and try and work our way through diagnosing why this car is losing power under throttle. And then we'll take it for a test drive and see if we fixed it. The other things I still need to do is the header's flange is thinner than the intake flange. So I need to actually either shave down the intake manifold flange so that the bolt that holds both of these in is equally forcing against the head and giving me a proper seal on the gasket. Right now, I'm leaking exhaust gas out of the gasket on the exhaust manifold because it's not actually forcefully pushed up against that gasket, and well, that needs to be fixed. Alright, so like I said just before, I was getting a leak through the exhaust manifold because this flange is thinner than the actual manifold, the intake manifold. You can see those black marks there. The exhaust gases have been leaking and coming out through the top here. You can see all that carbon build up. What I need to do is on the intake manifold where these bolts go there and there, on the back side, I need to shave down that face there and that face there so they're the same thickness as the header, because the headers are a bit thinner. Anyway, I'm going to keep pulling these apart. I might actually pull this one apart first because I'm not going to use it, and it'll give me a good indication as to what's going on inside these carburetors. Because I really just want this thing to run right, and I'm just kind of diagnosing things at the moment. All right, after inspecting the old carburetor and the new one as good as I possibly can without pulling this to pieces, this one here is obviously crud and horrible, but it gave me good insight onto what's going on inside the Ison Carbys. This one seems absolutely fine. I can't falter it at all. I think it's relatively new and will work absolutely fine. Now it's just a matter of putting it all back together. I did shave down these two ends to try and make them a little bit lower so they're flush with the exhaust manifold. Once it all goes back together, that should seal up nicely and get no more exhaust leaks. So now I've got to put it all back together and put it on the car. All right, so I was just about to go put it back in the car, and there's one final thing I checked on this. Here you've got your throttle, and that's for the first port. Everything in there is working super well. This here is the choke. That's working super well as well. But when you go full throttle, this secondary port opens up. So, open. Get my hand out of the way. Opens up. More fuel gets sprayed into the second chamber, comes through, you've got more air, more fuel, yada, yada, yada. This little guy is a flappy paddle down there that just opens up, connected to absolutely nothing at all, and it looks like it's just weighted, so gravity pulls it back down when we don't have the secondary port opened up, and there's no airflow anymore. This was jammed shut. I couldn't move that. It was seized. So I moved it a bit harder and stronger, and then finally it broke, and I moved it up and down. I sprayed some WD-40 in there, and all of a sudden it freed up really well. So it's telling me that this secondary port has been blocked the whole time. So I'm going to put it back on the car. Now we should have fixed this issue here with the flange. Checked over everything. I didn't have to take the Carby apart to find this, but well, there you go. At least we found it now. So we'll put it back on, turn it on, give it a run, and see if this actually does anything different. Obviously, if it's not allowing air to get down in there, then it's going to be restricting it quite a bit. So let's give it a go. All right, so it is the next day, and we've got it all back together. Everything's hooked up. I've got the idle advance, or the vacuum advance, plugged into the Carby on port. The flange issue seems to be sorted. That's now butting up really nice and pushing against the gasket. And I took it for a test drive, and it all seems really good. So the power is not missing anymore. Everything seems to be driving well. I still need to get a blocking plate down there to be sorted, etc, etc. So we're going to go for a quick test drive. I'll take you with me. And actually, before I do that, I'll quickly throw in the rub seal, because I've been putting that off for some reason, but I'm going to do it now anyway. I do have a proper tool that helps put it in very, very easily. So we'll get that sorted, and then we'll go for a quick drive. So I've got my lock strip, the corner pieces, a little bit of lubricant just to help slide in, and my little tool for actually inserting this into the run channel. Worthwhile getting one of these, even if you're just doing the front and rear window. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of broken fingernails. So let's get to installing this. So the tool, it's got that little pointy end on it. Get that inside the rim of the rubber like so, and you'll be able to slide this along, and it opens up the rubber sides. So start it here, insert there, and you slowly push this rubber thing along, and it falls into place behind it. I'm just going to double check that my corner is the right distance here. That looks really good. I've got about 1 centimeter coming into this, so we're going to continue along. A lost it a bit there, so I'm just going to use my screwdriver to lift that up over the edge. Now imagine trying to do this little part over the whole seal without having this tool. It would be tremendously painful, but just doing this will be annoying enough, so I'll quickly get this sorted and then continue. All right, and that's about it for the lock strip. That's now all in. I just chopped it at the very end to line up with, again, the corner pieces. I'll do the rest of these and then we'll get these corners in. All right, now for these little corners, it's just a matter of using a screwdriver and edging the rubber over the top. I managed to break the rubber just a little bit on the inside there, which kind of sucks, but that's not a leaking point, that's just holding that in. But apart from that, it's gone in really, really well. Looks nice and neat and nice and new. So let's go for a quick test drive. So that was a chokeless start just then, and it fired up first time, which is really, really good. Would help if I close the bonnet, okay? The engine seems to be driving very nicely. Sorry about the wobbly camera, I can't really do much about that. But the engine itself is running really nice. I'm not getting that hesitation anymore, and it powers up really well. You know, for 50 horsepower or however much power this engine makes, which isn't much, it's driving really well, and the car being probably under 1,000 kilo helps with that as well. So you still get to have a lot of fun in this little thing. The wheel guards are scraping on the tyres, so I'm going to have to cut the original guards out. I do have fender flares over it, so that won't be an issue. I'll maybe take 2 centimeters off. Yeah, she powers up nicely. Again, it's not like my last 6-cylinder twin turbo, but it's fun. It's actually really a joy to drive. Gear 2 from low down, the tiniest amount of hesitation, basically because I am kind of bogging it, but that was really, really good. So I think the engine side of things has been pretty much sorted. So there is one final thing that I need to do to this car. It has a little bit of white smoke blowing out the exhaust. Also, there is a lack of radiator coolant. Whenever I drive it, I lose about half a centimeter or a centimeter of coolant level in my overflow box, so in the overflow reservoir. So that's telling me that there is coolant getting used up and coming out the exhaust. The white smoke is a telltale sign, also loss of coolant out of the radiator system. I've got no leaks anywhere else, so it can't be anything else. So while I'm going to take the head off the car, which on this particular mode is not a big job, so that's fine, I will take the head off, and I will also try and get the valve seals changed as well, just because the head will be off and I'll have access to all that. It'll be a good opportunity to clean the head up a bit. But apart from that, the thing is driving really well. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's going to be pretty cheap to run as well, so that's a bonus. Already getting a fair few looks when you're driving this thing around with the flared guards and the wheels and the new paint job. It just looks really fat. I think it looks really presentable, so I'm very happy with it so far. Oh well, let's head back home. Alright, well that's going to do it for this one. Like I said, really happy with the way this is driving. I need to cut the wheel arches out just a little bit more to stop any kind of scrubbing from the tyres. Apart from that, it's fine because the wheel guards are going to cover that. The initial metal ones are too low. The car's running really well, really happy with it. The last thing on the list, like I said, is the head gasket. So we'll see you in that video, which will be the next one coming up. I just need to go find a head gasket and buy it, and I may as well do the valve seals at the same time, just to make sure that everything is running correctly. I don't want anything else coming out of that exhaust pipe after I'm finished. So thank you for watching. I'm really excited that it's coming along really well. I'll see you in the next one.